Hello and welcome to Is This England, a show where we talk about old England games and ask just how England was this.
Today, we're covering a seismic moment in English football as England play the Golden Team in what is known as the Match of the Century.
You may be a stranger, that's what time can do.
How are you?
Yes, very good, mate. Yourself?
Oh, I'm okay. The weather's getting a little bit better. The World Cup's getting a little bit closer, even though we've got to get through all the good weather to get to the World Cup.
And we've got the Nations League coming.
Absolutely.
That's our summer tournament, really, isn't it? The Nations League.
Yeah, I feel like there's been perhaps there's the England news is starting to ramp up a little bit as the end of the season comes. That we're starting to see a few sort of debates. I think a few English players I read today were picking different countries to allege themselves to.
Okay.
Callum Hudson-Odoi and Nketiah.
Oh, really? So they're kind of saying they're not going to play for England then?
Yeah, I think I don't want to get it wrong, but I think they both might have chosen Ghana.
Oh, okay.
But Hudson-Odoi's played and scored for England.
He has actually, hasn't? Is it like a thing now where you need like 4 games or something, or it's got to be a competitive game or something like that?
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to just bring a player on in a friendly and be like, "Well, you're in the bin now. Like we don't, if we want you, we'll call you, but elsewise you're stuck with us."
Yeah,
I think
but
they must have changed that because so you can't just go, "You're stuck with us now," basically.
I guess it's fair. You know, if you got one call up when you're young and you're never going to get another one, but you're a good player.
Yeah.
Anyway, from the absolute modern of the modern day, we're going right back to the oldest game that we could possibly find.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think in the schedule we've got, I don't know if there's a game that would be any earlier. I mean,
I don't think there is from the sources
yeah,
where we get the goods.
yeah.
They detail their list chronologically, and this is number 1 on there.
Okay then.
So I don't think there's anything before this. We're going back to 25th of November, 1953.
Amazing, isn't it? The fact that you can even watch a game from there
I
is
know.
just so interesting.
Yeah, that is such a long time ago. Should we say why we picked this game? Other than that, I mean, it's not just because it's an old game.
No. So England play Hungary in the Nations League. So it's only fitting we cover one of the most famous matches in world football history, which is between the two sides. It's not every day you get to cover the match of the century, is it?
It's not. It's not at all. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like scared.
Scared.
Scared because it's in black and white and it's spooky.
It's very foggy, isn't it? Like the quality dips, let's just say, and it goes up every now and then. But it's
I'm also scared of the edit for this one. The commentary is so bad. You say it's foggy. The commentator sounds like he's like in a cloud.
you know that little voice, like that Rob Brydon does, that
Yeah.
tiny man in a box. It's like that, isn't it?
It's that with over the top of it, sizzling.
You'd rather have vuvuzelas than that hiss, wouldn't you? The indomitable hiss.
Yeah. All right then. We always do the time capsule. Long before our time.
I think it says how far ago it is when we look at what the 2 events we've chosen are. This is this year.
Yeah,
basically.
you can couple them together. There's certainly a link. So I'm going to start with the death of Django Reinhardt.
Okay. You have to inform me probably who that is.
Yeah. Well, just before I inform you who that is, we did a death previously for Elvis Presley, and I just want to say it's not his actual death that I'm putting in. It's his death as a symbol of his life, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we'll come on to mine, but it's not. Mine's not really a homage as you as you kind of put. Mine's
Okay.
mine's an event. Yours is a celebration, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get a chance to do any. I mean, the guy I'm putting in, Django Reinhardt was born in 1910. I don't think we're going to get many games from between then and 1953.
No.
Django Reinhardt, where to start? One of, if not the greatest jazz guitarists to ever live, in my humble opinion, and probably, I think, I'm not the biggest jazz head. Semi-big jazz head, but
Yeah.
not the biggest, but I think that's quite widely accepted.
Yeah.
I mean, a fascinating story. I've read a biography on him and the way this man lived his life. He was a Romani gypsy, and just had no sort of understanding or value of money. It didn't really mean anything to him, but because of how talented he was on the guitar, he would be requested to play by nobility from all around the world and what have you, and he would just spend it. and he just wouldn't turn up for gigs because he'd be going like missing for days and weeks on end,
Okay.
and you'd have to get like his brother to find him playing pool in some bar with like homeless people who he's paying for all the drinks and stuff like that.
Reminds me of the film Green Room.
Yeah,
You know, like that. Yeah, your man in that as well, who's kind of like he's seen as kind of the person that people go to. Where like, this is the entertainment of the time. We bring this person. He does tours of the country in these places in ability.
there's one a moment from the book that always sticks with me, and I'm not sure why. I forget the name of the book, but it's probably one of there's probably loads of biographies on him. But anywho, he and his band play small band play this gig, and it's one of their first really well paid ones, and they're all in the alley afterwards, counting the money, smoking cigarettes, and thinking about where to go next. And it says that he just went missing and came back 5 minutes later, and that money's supposed to last them all like a month. You know, it's more money than they'd ever had, and they got it in one night. And he just comes back 5 minutes later with like a top of the range fedora hat, and he spent the lot on it. And he's just like, I wanted this hat. I told the guy to meet me after the show.
Hat dealing.
Hat dealers down the alley back in the day.
God.
A really unique factor about Django is if you listen to his music, I mean, he's the fastest guitar playing you'll ever hear. And it's always tuneful, which is what makes him so special. It's not just fast for the sake of it. But he actually plays with essentially just two fingers. I mean, most people are playing with four. There was a fire. I think it was in a caravan that he was living in at the time, and he obviously escaped and he was fine. But it kind of soldered his little finger and the finger next to that together. And so when you're listening to his music, if you do, just bear in mind he's playing it with two fingers and getting the pace, and also, you know, another incredible thing about musicians at this time is how little they can actually read or write, yet they can read and write music to such insane levels. So his death is in there. He died, unfortunately, of a brain hemorrhage. I think he was about 43 at the time. You know, the classic rock and roll story of live fast and unfortunately die young. But
buy lots of fedoras.
yeah, I mean, I was struggling to think of stuff from 1953, and I saw that his death was there, and I thought, oh, got to give him a shout out. I never thought these two worlds would collide.
Yeah.
Nick, what's yours?
Well, again, this shows how far back this goes. I'm putting in the death of Joseph Stalin.
It's funny though, because we've gone back, but like it's not like we've picked people who were born now and have died in the years since.
No.
We're just picking deaths. The death of Joseph Stalin.
Yeah, this is how long ago this was. So he'd suffered a stroke after an all-night dinner with Soviet Union Interior Minister Beria and future premiers Georgy Malenkov, Borgani, and Khrushchev.
Well, very good with the pronunciation.
Probably wrong, as most of the time.
What's the link with the stroke and the all-night dinner?
Just the fact that they'd been up, they'd do it quite often, and yeah, he kind of died afterwards. It was like, I think the next day he was pronounced dead, but he'd had the stroke and he would die the next day. But yeah, this led to the end of the gulags and allowed for what was perceived as a calmer individual to lead the Soviet Union in the future.
All right.
Yeah, that's what the
Just leave that comment there.
Yeah, that's what it's perceived as at the time. In reality, I'm putting it in because I love the film Death of Stalin.
Yeah.
The Armando Iannucci film from 2017, and any excuse to just be able to think about that is always a treat for me.
I need to rewatch it. I really liked it when I watched it at the time.
It's something I can just always put on in the background, and it's just like, yo, this is brilliant, isn't it? This.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a rewatch pretty soon. You've convinced me.
Yeah, they convince you with bringing up Stalin's death.
I don't think there's a Django film. You know, I think there's a film with Johnny Depp in that's like half based on him, loosely based on him. I think is it called Chocolate or something like that?
Chocolat.
Chocolat.
Is that what that film's about? I don't know. I've never watched it.
It's in my playlist, and the little picture is you know, he looks like how Django looks, and he's playing a guitar like how Django like does on it. So I've always just thought, and it's from that era.
Yeah.
Might as well lift some of those stories. Anywho,
that's one of the weirdest time capsules we'll probably ever do.
Yeah.
But
double death.
They're in there now.
R.I.P. both. Let's have a look at the state of the world of football in 1953, starting as always in England.
Yeah, 1952-53 season saw Arsenal win their 7th league title, even though they finished on the same points as their closest rivals, Preston North End. Arsenal finished the season with a goal average of 1.516, and Preston finished with a goal average of 1.417. So this isn't goal difference, this is goal average, which was the way to separate teams back then.
So average goals scored per game?
Well, I tried to look into it basically, and and the difference between goal average and a goal difference. But I think I kind of went blind when I was looking at it and trying to understand it. But I think essentially it's goals scored divided by goals conceded, so it actually favours defensive football.
That doesn't even sound like a way to work an average out,
I
does
know
it?
it's just wrong, isn't it? I mean, they got rid of it, I think, in the 70s. I want to say, just
Christ, it stuck around for that long.
yeah. But yeah, this title race goes down to the wire, and it's one of the closest title races ever in English football.
It's interesting how it favours defensive football. Like,
Yeah.
I guess it just, in the early days of football, maybe it was just seen as more like the real skill is not conceding, or the real skill is just stopping. I don't know.
Well, we'll see that today, won't we? The real skill is definitely not conceding,
But-
which there's not a lot of that on show.
Yeah, obviously now it's also heavily weighted in favour of, like, you never see defensive players win the Ballon d'Or. It's all about goals.
And even stuff like VAR, it encourages goals, and because that is what people want to see. But you look at teams these days, and they do have things in their favour in terms of obviously fitness and all the other stuff. But big thing in their favour now, why teams do score more goals, is because they can just stock up their team with great players. You play them whenever they need to, and actually stuff like VAR encourages more goals.
yeah.
So I mean, you want to find reasons to give them and allow them to be onside, and you get those decisions corrected really in a lot of places.
I mean, the quality of football these days, though, we've just come out of the Champions League semi-final period at time of recording, and it's just insane how high quality it is. It's like literally one small mistake and you're in.
You
And we saw a
gone.
lot of goals in that Real Madrid-Man City two-legged tie. And I don't know. Yeah, maybe like you say, a lot of things have been put in favour of scoring goals and encouraging that.
But even like more substitutes you get these days, like I think next year the Premier League's doing 5 substitutes again, and I'm just really not a fan of that because like where's the intelligence really in the nous to be able to go, oh, I'll just change my entire forward line. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's not really a skill, that is it? That's just because you've got a lot of more players, and the skill is picking the right team and the players to be able to win that game, not just going, I got that wrong, change the whole team.
But I guess the skill at this time was making sure that your goal average was
Yeah.
was better, as good as it can be, because it won Arsenal the title.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of goal difference, they'd have won the league anyway if you were using that metric. But yeah, only one of 6 occasions where the league has been decided when both teams have been on the same points. It was in 23-24 was goal average. It's got to be 19-23 because we're not actually far away from that.
Yeah.
From 20-23 and
Oh yeah, of
24.
course.
1949-50, 1964-65, they're all goal average. Goal difference decided the league in 2001-2012.
2011, 2012.
2011-2012, sorry, yeah.
That's
And
the Aguero season.
that is indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
And 88-89 as well was decided on goals scored. So they had the same goal difference, but it was goals scored. And Arsenal won that as well, actually. And they won it on the last day of the season, going to Anfield, knowing they needed to win by 2 clear goals. And they did it in the last minute. Just incredible.
That's why we love the game.
I know, just one of the best ends of a season ever.
I didn't know that the Aguero was the first goal difference. for English
Yeah,
league
yeah.
as well. Wasn't Liverpool and Man City just goal difference the other year? Was it like
No,
a point?
that was a point. That
Yeah.
was so. It's technically not the closest race ever, even though they kind of won all their games really not near the end, didn't they?
Crazy.
But yeah, the league is it's really competitive back then. The top 4 separated only by 4 points, and this is still back in the day of 2 points for a win. So yeah, really just 2 defeats, and that's it. The season's done really. But finishing 3rd and 4th respectively was Wolves and West Brom.
Oh wow! In that order, yeah, respectively. So
Yep.
Wolves 3rd, West Brom 4th. Interesting. Fair play to the Wolves. Fair play to West Brom. It's good to see some representation.
Of the Midlands teams in there.
Yeah, yeah.
The most notable thing to happen in English football in this year was Blackpool winning the FA Cup 4-3 against Bolton Wanderers on the 2nd of May.
Why is that the most notable event?
It's because it is known as the Matthews final, the legendary game where Stanley Matthews played, and I think he set up 2 goals in like the last 2 minutes. Stan Mortensen, who we see today as well, he gets a hat-trick, and yeah, it's just an incredible game, really. It's one I'd quite like to watch in full, if I have a spare bit of time, but that's kind of been taken off.
Yeah, I don't
playing
think
with-
you're going to get much time to.
But yeah, I watched some of it on the highlights in the build up to this today, and yeah, Matthews just kind of runs them absolutely ragged, and some of the commentary is brilliant.
Great little wizard has it again. A flick to centre finds Perry, who crashes it home into the Bolton net. Blackpool 4, Bolton 3. There's no doubt about it now. Matthews, recently ignored by the England selectors, is the man of the match. What a great reception he gets from all at Wembley as the whistle goes. Matthews in his third cup final is the hero of the day. Her Majesty the Queen rises to greet the two teams and to award the cup. And here come the winners, gallant Blackpool, who turned what seemed defeat into one of the most dramatic victories ever seen at Wembley. Their captain, Harry Johnston, receives the most coveted football trophy of them all. Congratulations for Stanley Matthews, and a winner's medal at long last are fitting rewards for the most dazzling sportsman in world soccer.
Well, it's amazing to hear that commentary from that time. It's also kind of notable that I think you put here in the notes about this being a major TV audience, probably the first one for a sporting event.
Yeah, first major one, because televisions have been bought or rented for the forthcoming coronation of the Queen Elizabeth II. Again, this is how far back we're going.
And linking to where we are now. Well, at time of recording, it's on the Platinum Jubilee is just around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when this is coming out. I think it's coming out after.
Pretty much around that time, isn't it? But so people decided to buy TVs a few months early so they could watch the final before they watched the coronation.
That's very smart, isn't it? Very
yeah.
crafty, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Big FA getting involved, luring everybody into renting tellies.
But yeah, it's yes, that's the Matthews final, which was a really, really big event at the time.
Right, build up to this game, England versus Hungary. Build up being football was invented maybe however many years before. I mean, yeah, as I say, we're going right back here. So far back, in fact, that Walter Winterbottom, England's manager, England appointed, I'm just going to say, it's shocking. England appointed a manager with no experience in professional football.
I know, amazing, isn't it?
PE teacher.
He's literally a PE teacher as well. So he was a semi-professional footballer at Man United, ending in 1938 after a spinal injury. He ended up being a PE teacher in the Royal Air Force in World War II. Post-war, he was appointed England's first manager and was in charge of managing the team and developing an overall standard of coaching in England.
He was a PE teacher in the Royal Air Force.
Yeah.
What do they need PE teachers for? I mean, surely they're...
Just keep fit. Just, keep the boys' morales up and all that.
Yeah. With PE lessons?
Well, why not? Play football. I'm assuming he did football. He just wasn't into cricket or something. That would make this even more mad. But he didn't actually pick the England team. That was down to the FA selection committee, which showed little to no consistency with their choice of players.
What the hell? What? Do you think this is political or personal?
I think it was kind of saying about cricket. That's the way it's kind of done now and then in cricket. So maybe they were just thinking that's just what happens. A select committee come together, they pick the best players just so there's maybe no biases or anything like that. But I guess you don't give the manager who, Winterbottom here, the freedom to pick his own team. So he's kind of just going, whoever turns up, I've just got to manage and do my best with.
The lack of consistency is interesting, whether they're just trying to give people a fair shot, from across the country, or, as I say, whether somebody going, pick my boy.
Yeah.
Pick my boy and I'll take you down the boozer. He'd love to play for England.
Yeah, well, we see a couple of those players today that they play and get their pretty much their only caps. But Winterbottom was given the role of amateur and youth international coach, looking after training, various coaching schemes, booking accommodation, meals, travel, and was the Football League inter-league manager.
Roy Keane would be fuming, wouldn't he? He didn't
Too
even
many jobs.
Too many jobs, yeah. What's your job?
Well, that's a lot for someone who most likely didn't know what they were doing and was doing a job that didn't exist before. Just incredible.
He's like, he must have been stressed, man.
Might be going through so many cigarettes a day.
Imagine the line, like the contrast between him and Sven.
Well, I mean, just count as lucky as well. We hear apparently Southgate has no experience at this level. This bloke was literally a PE teacher and he just got that job. So. Yeah, he'd done all right though. He got England to the 1950 World Cup.
Just stop it there, because that's an incredible achievement for a man with no international experience.
Just a regular human
doing all of that stuff and getting them to the World Cup.
Yeah,
you don't even need to win. You're already a winner, Walter.
So he managed to fit that in between booking hotels and finding the best breakfasts in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, you would imagine if somebody was like, I'm not really keen on this breakfast. It's like, well, you do it then. Because I do everything round here.
Just smashes everything.
Yeah.
Will you do it then? I'm sick of this.
Yeah. I'm slaving away. Probably cooking the breakfast.
He's definitely doing it on on the buses and that, isn't he? He's the person on the Jolly Boys there and like handing out all the sandwiches.
And
He's
lest
just
we
coming
forget
down.
doing all this without a mobile phone.
Yeah.
So he's got to like make sure he's got it done before he leaves the house every morning.
Just sending like letters years in advance to Brazil in case they get there.
I am writing to you because I am England manager and I would like to book your hotel room in 4 years' time.
Yeah, so upon arrival in Brazil for the 1950 tournament, England were hailed as the kings of football by the Brazil press, which sounds like a massive piss take that does, doesn't it?
I think that has to
Because
be
it
a
was
piss
their
take.
first World Cup as well.
Why were we already at it? Were we
I think
already singing Three Lions?
I think there's already definitely something there, isn't there? It had been seen as England's best team ever assembled, and in their debut World Cup campaign, they went out in the group stage, including an embarrassing defeat to a hastily assembled US team, which was composed of part-time players.
Yeah.
I mean, already playing the hits, England, aren't they? Amazing.
It settles the nature versus nurture argument, really.
Okay.
You know, we've not learned over time. It's not years of sort of agonising exits from World Cups and embarrassing moments that have led to us still continuing to do it. It's there from day one. We were born like this.
We can't help ourselves, can we? It's just
No.
always going to happen.
Well, that's really interesting because that, in my mind, does actually prove it. I know there's not much science behind it, but
there's not much we can do about it. Like you say, we were made this way. We've just got to plow on and just be like, look, we're better than everyone. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Look back to old Winterbottom and he'll tell you.
the kings of football, eh?
Again, that is just such a piss take, isn't it? Of these guys coming over, hey, kings of football, hey, like it might pass it.
And again, it wouldn't be England without a controversial, a bit of controversy surrounding a star man and a talisman. Stanley Matthews is the fall guy this time.
Yeah. We heard in the commentary of the Matthews final that he'd been ignored by the England selectors. So that in 1953, Matthews is approaching 39.
It's a different game, though. You can
Yeah.
you can't be playing until your mid-50s.
Yeah, in previous years, Matthews had been through a bit of a rough ordeal with the FA, at one point being subject to an FA inquiry after he claimed tea and scones on his expenses.
Oh, oh God.
It was sixpence.
Yeah. Imagine putting the Sun front page back in the day.
Scone gate.
Scone mad.
Matthews has gone scone mad. That's how well it would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Resign now.
So Matthews he's scone mad, but it reminded me a little bit of the just again how far we've come when we were talking about Fabio Capello taking Sir Alex Ferguson out to lunch.
Oh yeah.
To ask him about Owen Hargreaves' fitness. Maybe Matthews should have thought of ahead for excuse.
Well, yeah, that was probably his. Well, what even could his excuse been? He was hungry and wanted some food while he was on England duty.
Yeah.
Walter Winterbottom must have been furious. I've made you scones.
Yeah.
I've made you sandwiches. You didn't want them.
Did you not take your pack lunch?
Yeah,
I'm not made of money. Imagine that. Oh
so
God,
fuming.
that's mad. But he's the star man, really.
Yeah. After Sconegate, Matthews had helped England to a 4-0 win in Turin against Italy with a amazing folklore saying that he beat Alberto Ilani and followed it by removing a comb from his pocket and actually combing his hair back.
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, he just wiped his sweat from his eyes, even though spectators could have sworn that they saw him actually remove the cone. I mean, just such levels of bullshit, isn't it?
The thing is, well, actually, I kind of respect. Yeah, it's definitely bullshit. Let's just get that down as fact. But it's the type of thing a player would do nowadays, knowing that the camera's there.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine there were any cameras at that game.
Well, if people are just going, well, we saw it. That's just as good as you had, because I guess it was less known that people could just lie a lot.
Yeah.
There's less evidence of it, wasn't there?
There's evidence of him ordering bloody tea and scones. He didn't help himself there, did he?
No, and Winterbottom didn't really take kindly to what Matthews was doing around the time, and he looked for a more defensive winger. And Matthews only made the 1950 World Cup squad by the skin of his greasy hair, and he only played in England's first hilarious exit from the tournament once.
Oh,
So he only actually played in one game.
In the 1950, do you think so? It was probably that America game?
It was one. Yeah, I think England played 3 games, and he played in only one of them. So he's not really the scapegoat for the situation, but there's clearly problems there why England for some reason don't want to pick him.
When you say that the manager didn't really like what he was doing at the time, do you just mean like his personality?
I just don't think he was maybe tracking back because he was, getting on. So it's the idea of, well, he does his job up there, but it's kind of like basketball in these days. It's just there's your defense, there's your attack. You just neither of the two shall meet.
Yeah, he did play again. Obviously, I mean he keeps kind of worming his way back in. He did play in a 4-4 draw with a Europe 11 in the FA's 90th anniversary match. A game England was seen as very lucky to get a draw in. Alf Ramsey scoring a dubious last-minute penalty. Sir Alf Ramsey.
Yeah, actually playing. That's incredible, isn't it?
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, Bob Ferrier of the Daily Mirror said that England needed all the luck in the world to achieve the result, with Bob Pennington from the Daily Express calling the penalty a gift given to us by the referee.
What are they doing?
So already England are getting these decisions.
Yeah,
already are just like, oh, actually, we deserve the decision.
It's all a bit dodgy, isn't it? All a bit not necessarily above board.
Yeah, but it did. It took Matthews' stunning performance in the 1953 Cup final to get him back in the England team that we see today. But in better news, you'll be glad to know that England shared the 1953 British Home Championships with Scotland this year.
Oh, could I care less at the moment?
You love our home championships, even in the 50s.
No, I do. I'm still scarred.
Just the idea that they just share it as well.
Yeah.
Because, I can't even start thinking about goal average or whatever the hell they're going to bring into it.
I guess I'm just scarred from the Northern Ireland game, the Scotland games. I had such high hopes at the start, but I'm starting to question them more and more. But anyway, let's talk about some real quality then, shall we? Let's talk about Hungary and their sort of time in the build-up to this game.
Yeah. I mean, what an incredible team! This Hungary team have got more nicknames than the Undertaker. I mean, they go by such names as the Team of the Century, the Golden Team, and the Mighty Magyars, just to name a few.
The Team of the Century.
Or already just christened that.
Yeah, it's halfway through the century, and like
no one's gonna be better than these.
Yeah, it's going to be impossible. It's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
So you could compare these to, say, Manchester United treble winning team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at kind of like iconic international sides as well.
Yeah.
Along that period, like Brazil 1970 and whatnot too. But yeah, just a really well-renowned team. I mean, they'd won gold at the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki and were seen as the team in world football.
Well, we've already seen with Poland, the Olympic football at certain points in history, especially when you go back, shouldn't be discounted as what it is today, which is seen as a bit of a nothing, really.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the Hungarian national team was a creation of Deputy Sports Minister Gustav Sebes, and was seen as a way to further sports excellence in communist Hungary at the time. And it's seen as the earliest, vaguest version of the widely celebrated Dutch model of total football from the 70s.
I love that vaguest version because the thing about total football is that's quite specific.
Yeah, I think it was
To a degree.
It's kind of like the idea is that everyone could kind of play all positions, and you do what you can, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is clearly total football they're doing back here. They originated it, but they did.
What a sentence, though! A way to further sporting excellence. I mean, that is like, I don't even know. Like, imagine the training that they must have done.
Oh yeah, well, I think you can see in this game as well. They are fit and in shape and know exactly what they're doing. They are exactly regimented, aren't they? I mean, they also had Hidakuti, who's also seen as the first deep-lying centre forward. More on him later.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we'll hear a bit more about him.
Yeah.
The Hungarians were also reaping the benefits of fitness and tactical training regimes, which is after watching this game, that was what I was thinking. Who the hell is training these guys?
Yeah. There's a large amount of the Hungary players as well came from the state army-sponsored team Honved, meaning each member of the team were familiar with the style and strengths of one of the two. So it's kind of like a club side that they're taking to the international stage.
Of course, that makes a lot of sense. Reference there to the famous Wolves versus Honved game. Just as soon as I hear that name, it takes me back.
Okay, then.
Takes me back. I mean, I had to write a massive story about it, and I'd never heard of it. It was seen as like, do you know the story?
Isn't it kind of, well, for people who probably don't know, then go into it for us slightly.
I'll go into as much as I can remember.
Yeah.
But it did take place in December 1954, so after this game. But I guess it was almost seen as Now you could say it's like almost the start of the Champions League.
Yeah, the European Cup kind of begins in an inaugural fashion
Yeah.
around this game, doesn't it?
And I mean Honved versus Wolves, and Wolves are representing England.
Sounds like a conference league game now, that doesn't it? Like the Europa
Yeah,
Conference. But
yeah.
then that is like they are the two best teams probably in the world.
And I feel I think there's a wall dedicated to it at the National Football Museum. It's that
Okay.
level because of obviously the names involved, and it's a bit of a dramatic story. I wished I could remember more about it, but let's move on.
I'm sure there'll be lots of Midlanders screaming at us like, "What do you mean you're not talking about it more?"
Yeah, well, is this England?
Yeah, not is this Wolves.
No.
Yeah, and Hungary, lots of great players in their team, but where England have the most dazzling sportsman in world soccer, as he was referred to in the commentary in Stanley Matthews, there was another heavyweight vying for the title in one, Ferenc Puskás.
Oh, like a bit of a like the most dazzling sportsman in world soccer.
In world soccer.
Yeah, The Rock.
Yeah.
Stanley Matthews raising the people's eyebrow against Stone Cold Ferenc Puskás.
He is, yeah. So, Puskás is seen as the first international sports star. Scored over 700 goals in his career for club and country.
That's good going.
That's a lot of goals, isn't it?
It's crazy that it's been taken over.
Yeah, you look at today's
Like,
record.
and no offense, no offense. Well, it's hard to make it not saying offensive. No offense to old football, but it's amazing that it's been taken over by people playing real football.
Well, yeah, like of today, of kind of like, I scored that one in training. The Pele of kind of
Yeah.
as many goals as you kind of dream of as well. Like he dreamt of certain goals and he claimed that he counted them. So,
But Puskás is playing at clubs who are still at the elite of Europe, so he's doing it on as good a stage as he can.
yeah. I mean, where we find him today, he's still playing at Honved, but he moved to Real Madrid in 1958. At Honved, he'd scored 375 goals in 356 games.
Jesus.
Just stunning. And his record for Hungary is a joke as well. It's 84 goals in 85 games.
So presumably he got more than 350 goals for Real Madrid as well, or did he play for more clubs?
I think it was only those two clubs. We'll come on to Madrid in a little bit of the aftermath of the game. But
Okay.
But yeah, this man is such a legend that he's even got his own award named after him. It's the Puskás Award from FIFA, which is awarded to the player who scores the most beautiful goal of the year.
Is that the actual criteria? Most beautiful?
Yeah. I looked into it. It's the most beautiful goal, which is very subjective,
Yeah.
obviously. The first was awarded to Cristiano Ronaldo for his long-range screamer for Man United against Porto back in 2009.
I was surprised they only just started it then.
Well,
That's crazy.
there's got that, and then other winners include Neymar, Ibrahimovic against England, obviously, James Rodriguez, Salah, and Eric Lamela. The
Yeah, the Panenka. Not Panenka. It was like is it a rotunda or something like that? A retarder?
yeah, it's the it's kind of that back heel goal, isn't it?
That
It's
was a nice
it's
goal.
it's escaped me as well.
I don't
what
remember
it's called.
Salah's.
It's one against Everton. It's a very strange one to actually win it. It's just like kind of I don't know. It's kind of just a ball that's just kind of placed into the top corner. It's like a nice goal, but I remember at the time going, "That's what's won it." That one.
You've tapped into something there as well. I don't know whether I referenced this to you in our ongoing WhatsApp chat. You mentioned Ibrahimovic there. I was thinking the other day, and again, this game actually kind of puts paid to this theory, but we've seen some really great players and just not have great games. So I thought I might at some point choose the Zlatan Sweden versus England game.
Oh, for the goal.
So we can just see like England against a player, like a world-class legend player at the peak of his powers, putting in a performance that represents that. Because we saw Ronaldo,
Didn't do
Brazilian
much,
Ronaldo,
yeah.
didn't do much.
Platini.
Yeah, Platini was the other example. So look forward to that.
Well, we've got a good performance from a couple of players today.
Yeah.
Which, so this was billed as the originators versus the best, which is a very weird title.
Yeah, really, really like straight to the point, I guess.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah.
So Hungary, the best, taking the title of the best, they had ascended to the top of the FIFA rankings and were all unbeaten in almost 3 years. That is good going
Yeah.
by any measure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And England had suffered just one home defeat against a team outside of the home championships, which was against the Republic of Ireland in 1949. So at this point, they are undefeated against teams outside of their basically local vicinity, aren't they?
When they come to Wembley.
Yes, so England I think the commentator even says it this against continental sides. I think he calls it. They've never lost a game at Wembley.
Interesting. Becoming a bit of a fortress, and we're the the originators and have been labelled, but in some quarters as the kings of football. But
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it just doesn't. We would have spoke about more good stuff in the build up to the game. You know, if that was the
Yeah.
case, we wouldn't have talked about Stanley Matthews being fined for buying a scone on expenses.
And England still haven't won the World Cup at this point either. They've only entered the World Cup once, or been able to qualify for it once as well. So yeah, it's the originators of the game. You know, they've got all the answers, and they're real solid in their WM formation, which is something they'll just never change. And this is the way to do it. We'll show the rest of the world. I mean, to me, this has got massive Rocky versus Clubber Lang vibes. This has. England kind of are seen as the favourites just by reputation, but people probably haven't seen this. I mean, when would you even see them on TV? If we've only just had the Stanley Matthews final, which is like,
Yeah.
bloody hell, we can watch sport on TV. No one would have seen them, really, would they?
No, God, I just think everyone was taking the mick,
Just a
calling
bit.
us great and all that. Oh yeah, you're dead good,
Yeah.
dead good, you guys, and thanks for football for inventing it.
Something else that's strange. It's a 2:15 p.m. kickoff on a Wednesday. What on earth is this? This isn't on a weekend or anything like that. It's just bang in the middle of the workday.
In the middle of the week,
In the middle of
bang,
the week?
bang in the middle of hump day.
Yeah. This is just to get people over hump day. You just go down to Wembley for the day.
I know, yeah. I feel like back in those days, they would have just gone back to work afterwards as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it's not like it's even working from home where you're like, well, I'm just popping to the football, but I'll plug in this evening and I'll check back in. It's just like, no, you've left. And it's a sellout at Wembley. It's like 100,000 people there. They've all managed to get time off work or
Go
whatever.
on.
It's just strange, isn't it? But
Proper England fans, proper Lions.
yeah, where were you when we played Hungary? I was working
I was working. I'm surprised that you weren't.
down the pit.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the lineups. We're edging ever closer. I think I'll take England.
Okay.
In goal, we have Gil Merrick. I mean, this isn't a regular formation, so sort of the most defensive players we have are Alf Ramsey, Harry Johnston, and Bill Eckersley. In front of them, we have Billy Wright, captain, and Jimmy Dickinson. Ahead of them, we have Ernie Taylor and Jackie Sewell. And up front, Stanley Matthews, Stan Mortensen, and George Robb. So what would you say that formation is? I mean,
So I think that's kind of what they're claiming is the WM, isn't it? Because you've kind of got that W at the top, and then you've got an M at the bottom as it goes down. So that's where it was. I know that's not a visual thing for listeners, but you can imagine a W, then beneath it an M. That's kind of, and the points are where the England players are. So,
that's interesting.
and it was, I think it was the Arsenal manager. I can't remember what his name is, but he kind of like Herb Chapman, I think it was. He invented that kind of a system because it was just, you know, we've got to have something to do when, you know, we've got to have people out there and have rules to the game. So kind of invented that, and England had stuck with that, and it had done them all right so far.
It's the names are fine. Big names in there in terms of recognition, but I expected a bit more comedy from a 1950s England side.
It's great to hear Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie.
Ernie's a great 50s name, isn't it?
Yeah, Bill Eckersley sounds old,
Yeah.
but not much outside of that.
Gil. I mean, Gil. Have we ever seen a Gil play for England before?
Old Gil.
Gil Merrick.
Stanley Matthews does make the side, and as you say, he's not quite at his 39-year-old peak here, just a bit before then, and accompanied by a further 3 Blackpool players, including Ernie.
Yeah, winning his first cap for England as well.
And Billy Wright winning his 55th of 105 caps. Wolves watch?
Yeah, does this count as a Wolves watch? There's definitely no Wolves flag.
There's no. I mean, there could have been.
think
It's very hard to see.
I think we need some sort of like a sound whenever that goes off these days. And the Wolves watch, we need some sort of really thick Midlands voice or something to just come into there.
Where could we find one of those? You're looking at him. You're looking at him, mate. Anywho,
Hungary.
Hungary.
Here we go. They've got Grosic in goal, Buzatski, Laurent, and Lantos kind of in a back 3. Their formation is all over the place as well because
They've got quite a few up top.
yeah, they had Zakaris and Bosic in midfield, and then it's kind of just a front line of load of players. So you've got Budaj, Puskas, Hidakuti, Kosic, and Sibor.
You could say that's a 5-3-2, maybe.
I think because Hidakuti is essentially playing in midfield, even though he's a striker.
Yeah.
So that's the idea of, well, he's dropping back, but you've got wingers who are basically just playing up front as well, like a Matthews would do too. And on the bench is Sandor Geller, no relation to Ross. I've done my research.
Oh, we couldn't find an England bench either, could we?
I don't think there's an England bench. The only reason I know that, spoiler, that he's on the bench is he makes an appearance at some point.
Oh, people aren't going to listen now that know Sandor Geller's getting a kick about.
Damn right. But yeah, just tough men.
Yeah, just before we go into the toughness of these guys, um, I, I I could see football returning almost to playing this many forwards.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It's just getting so much more attacking.
yeah.
And could you imagine a team like Liverpool or like would they do that badly if they played Jota, Firmino, Salah, Mane, and Diaz up top? Like
I
you're
guess, I
gonna
guess
score a lot of goals, man.
I guess it's just the balance, isn't it? I mean, you look at that Liverpool side, it's made up because that midfield three works so hard, don't they? And if you're chasing a game, you always used to see teams that they would throw all their forward players on, and you kind of got players playing in weird positions at full back and whatever. But football does go in cycles in terms of going attacking and defensive.
Yeah.
And we could be, unfortunately, maybe seeing a point where actually defensive football comes back. I mean, you look at kind of the mid 2000s, everyone was very attack minded, and then Mourinho came in and changes everything. By the time you get to the 2010 World Cup, it's just so dull. I remember that World
Yeah,
Cup
yeah.
being nothing but defensive football,
Yeah, that's very true.
double holding players and things like that.
You
but
can normally tell by the big games in the Premier League, like the
Mm.
top teams playing against each other. They're either like absolute goal fests or
Yeah.
they're all 0-0.
or just absolutely, yeah, like the Benitez Mourinho dog shit 0-0s.
Yeah, but you heard it here first. 5 up front's coming back.
There you go.
Just before we move on a little bit further, me and Nick, and we'll share this on the Instagram page at @istthis_England. We're looking at a picture of the Hungary team, and let me tell you, you do not want to bump into these guys down a dark alley.
No, they look tough but cool, don't they? One of them's just like wringing his hands, like, right, let's just get on with this now.
Yeah, there's a few folded arms. It looks like an audition room for like, right, we need to cast a generic Eastern European tough guy.
Who's up for it? It's Puskas.
Yeah. God, we've made a note as usual to talk about the kits.
Oh yeah,
I mean, these aren't your Nike total 90s embellished kits, are they?
No, I don't even know if you can call what England are wearing a kit. It's just more like a bag with armholes, isn't it? It's just not great.
It's a Safeway bag.
Yeah. Hungary's isn't too bad too. They've got a deep V-neck. Looks quite smart, I think, and the badge just straight underneath it too.
Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable, as you say. England is just, it's like in old TV shows when people go to bed and they basically put on like a suit,
like a night dress.
Yeah. Why did people like wear like full on trousers and like a shirt and a blazer to go to bed
And a hat.
and a hat?
Wait a minute, bed blazers. I've never heard of
Nah,
those before.
but it's like a shirt that has the like lapels
got
of
a
a blazer
pocket and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You think, Christ, you're stuck up.
We don't have any anthems in this one, do we? Either there's no anthems in the coverage we watched, but just before kickoff on our stream, we have about 50 warnings, which apologise for the sound and vision quality. We'll be offering no apologies to this kind of stuff because we have to be creative in how we're going to drop these clips in.
Yeah, it's literally inaudible. So I'm nervous. Maybe I can do a better restoration job than the Puskas Foundation, who made this viewable, I think.
I think it is, yeah. We also see the man himself.
Just imagine his family after going on, give us that raw footage. We're keeping that for years to come.
Give us that back.
Yeah.
We see the great man as well, Puskas, doing some keepy uppies before the game, before the kickoff, and the commentator sounds so impressed with him. He is saying that England will have trouble beating these Hungarians if they're doing things like this. And it's like, what, keepy uppies?
Yeah. But it's such a power play from him to just stand there, and it's like he's just like. It's like he's a kid at school and he's got like the new PSP or something like that, and everyone's just looking at him like, what is this? So the game, England versus Hungary, 25th of November 1953 at Wembley Stadium. Let's go. Before we go, sorry, was this for anything? Is it just a friendly?
It's just a friendly, like an exhibition match. It's the match of the century.
So it was
You're going to win match of the century.
Build almost like a boxing fight then, really.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a bit more of that, I think.
Yeah, well, I think if you just everything is like, what would you even have these days?
Be a bit of a stupid thing to say from me, actually. I'd like to see football games promoted more these days.
I'd like to see more friendlies that mean nothing.
Yeah, with lots of needless promotion around them.
We've only just had the Nations League. Now you want to get rid of it for pointless friendlies. We've gone back again.
I just want to see weigh-ins and stare downs, like 11 versus 11, and you get like the managers squaring off against each other first, then the captains, and then the keepers. Oh, that'd be great. I'm imagining Safegate versus, like, I don't know,
You can't think of any other international manager.
Trying to think of a funny one. Germany one's gone.
Yeah, well, what Frink is it? Thomas Frink, I think.
I just say Roberto Martinez. He's a bit of a prat, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that would be pathetic. That fight, wouldn't it?
Right. We're into the game now. It's quite a quick start. And no surprises really that Hungary are looking kind of staggeringly good.
Yeah, yeah. We've barely got time to light up our pipes and open up our massive newspapers, and we've got a goal.
There is number 5, but he's not the centre half. Now it comes to hit Ricky. It's a goal! Everybody has always said the continental sounds good. And if that's the sample of what we're going to have this afternoon, then England are going to be in dire trouble. 1-0 after 45 seconds then for Hungary.
Well, I don't know whether we should be should we be attempting to do the commentary? Anyway.
What, us do the commentary?
Yeah, because, sorry about how that sounded.
Yeah, let's see how we can get along. But this is 49 seconds into the game. I mean, bloody hell, that is not sportsmanlike, is it?
No.
He's just twatted it right in the top corner. None of us are ready.
It's Hidikuti after 49 seconds, and yeah, he just gets it and just goes, right, I'm going to hit this really hard. Nobody closes him down, obviously, because it's 1953. And the keeper just jumps and he just misses it. I mean, he jumps way, he's kind of further on his line and jumps forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I just picking holes there? Is that bad technique?
I just think it's a great strike, though. I don't think he's stopping that anyway. I think you can see in our starting position and our notes. I don't think it's bad. It's just he's not expecting it. It's 49 seconds in and he's just done that. It's not right. No one else does that before.
No, yeah, kind of setting the tone.
Yeah.
The commentator even does note that he's kind of setting the tone. If that's the type of thing we're going to see, England are in big trouble.
Yeah, it's like the commentator has already seen what's going to happen today. You know, that feeling of dread when you're watching sport or a film or something and you know exactly what's going to happen and you can't do anything about it.
Big England vibes, really. I think we're gonna get sat down today. What a goal! What a start! Let's move forward then. If we're just trudging through, just like the chaos that is covering this game.
Well, as well, he's supposed to be playing up front here, Kuti, and the fact that he's playing so much deeper is evident to us because we just go, okay, that's that person playing there, but kind of the commentator picks it up really quickly and he's just kind of trying to explain it to everybody at home what's going on. Of well, this is why the England players are quite confused because he shouldn't be there, he's not allowed at times.
Yeah, it's the difference in quality is stark from the outset, really. It's not even a question that Hungary are like nothing else that England have seen before. They're actually playing something that resembles modern football, and England kind of look like they need the rules explaining.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. They've said that one of the players actually they say he has experience against the Hungarians. He watched them at the Olympics. That, to me, is not experience in the slightest. He went to the Olympics and saw them once.
A minor bit of scouting.
Yeah. We also get our first mention of Puskás, who has his first shot saved by the keeper. It's a bit one for the cameras, really. The giant cameras in the stadium. It's a bit flashy.
You got your Jim from Friday Night Dinners, there.
His
Jim
granddad.
Senior, yeah, Jim Senior.
Yeah, and also something else I noticed on this as well. The benches are so close to the pitch. It's like they could, the manager could actually trip up one of the players as they're going past. It's so close.
It's crazy. Something I kind of noticed early though is Wembley is still kind of its iconic and recognisable self, even though there's no colour and the coverage is so bad. We watched so much of Wembley recently that seeing players just charging towards those goals, you just know where you are straight away.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think, thank God, because that's probably the only reference point I can hang on to for this game. So yeah, we got let's recap.
Yeah.
Poland. God, I'm all over the place. Hungary have just smashed it in after 40 seconds. We've got an England player who has watched Hungary play once, and that's classed as experience. And Puskás has had a shot saved. And we can see that managers are able to trip players up.
Yeah, that's where we are.
That's where we are.
We've got our base.
What happens next?
Next up, Hidikuti. They break through and They score again, but for some reason, it's given us offside.
Yeah,
I mean-
offside? Question mark.
Yeah, question mark offside. It is probably the worst decision I've ever seen about him being offside. So they just pass it. They're outside England's penalty area. They pass it through the D. There's 2 England players in the penalty area. So they're passing it in front of them clearly by like a couple of yards, and it's given offside. I mean, what on earth happened
Well,
there?
Yeah, maybe it's a bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We've already spoken about the penalties in the 4-4 draw against Europe 11. Maybe they're like, this wasn't supposed to happen. Ref, you got to sort this out because they could have easily gone 2-0 up there. And the Puskas Foundation, who made this video viewable, have had a little dig. They've put over the top in like kind of like 1990s Game Boy text. Offside? Question mark?
I know they're taking the piss a bit. I thought maybe there was like an English referee because people were just seeing it as like not a problem. But the referee's from the Netherlands, so you assume his assistants are as well. But yeah, that is the worst offside I've ever seen in my life.
Let's move on from that anyway now because we have a game. We've got our base. There's been another bit of madness after that, but things have got to calm down quite soon, right?
You'd think so.
Beautiful pass from Martinson, who's got a clear run to full. It must be a goal. Must be a goal.
Oh,
That's
it's
more like
coming
it.
home. It's coming. The title of this over-advertised friendly exhibition match is coming home.
Yeah.
1-1.
None of that fancy stuff from Hungary. Just a straight run down the middle. And it's a run from Harry Johnson, who plays a straight pass to Mortensen about 10 yards into Hungary's half. Mortensen like shimmies and dummies like he's a drunk looking for change at the bottom of his pocket. Plays a pass again through the middle to Sewell, run onto, and he's in the Hungary area and he just snails one into the bottom corner. Take that, Hungary.
You know, fair play. I thought that was a good goal.
I don't know about good goal. It is just a straight line, isn't it? And Hungary are like, whoa, they're not going to try this. They've done it. I can't believe this.
I think accurate passing is like a superpower in this time because
That's very true.
if you can just get it to your man, there's not going to be anyone around him. And if you can string 2 or 3 accurate passes together, lo and behold, you're in the box.
They were nominated for the Ballon d'Or for that run, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah. But England are back into it 1-1 now. It's been an interesting start.
Yeah.
That goal feels against the run of play. I'm hoping this game might calm down now and England will just do what they've done. We've seen them do it before.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen them do quite a lot of bad stuff, but we've also seen them just go, right, we are actually England. Let's control this game now.
Two ball cutting in the outside left. That's through Puskas. It's a ball. With that guilty.
No.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
You've got Winterbottom there cooking up the breakfast and the
Just
what have
looking
you.
up from the frying
Yeah,
pan.
looking up from the frying pan going, you're joking.
He's done what?
They've done what?
I mean, yeah, so it's another goal. It's Hidegkuti again, and it's a real mess from England. Seaboard down the left, pulls across back, and there's 3 Hungary players in the penalty area to England's 3. This isn't a breakaway. This is just in normal play.
Yeah.
The ball bounces around. Puskas, noted as a naval officer at this point, he's on the floor, but he manages to pass it to Hidegkuti, and he just smashes it in with his right foot past the goalkeeper and past the man on the line. They're back in the lead.
Yeah. England probably should have done better defensively.
Yeah, it just feels like a bit of a different sport. This is what Hungary are playing compared to England, doesn't it?
It looked like Puskas was absolutely wiped out to me in the build-up as well. The naval officer.
Yeah,
He got a good smack for his cheek.
yeah. It's not great, is it? And yeah, not even time to analyse the goal. And Hungary are already making another 2 chances. By the time you've even got time to blink, and the commentator's like set himself again. And, you know,
I remember playing 5-a-side once, and I don't know if I've told this before on here, but it was me and my friends, and none of us had played for years, and it was like, let's just do it. You know, our friendship mainly revolved around drinking and smoking, and it was just like, let's do something that's not that.
Yeah.
And then we signed up to a five-a-side league, and they went, on the day when we turned up to find out who our first opposition was, it was like, sorry, we've only got a place again in the top league out of like 6 leagues. Or like, only got a place in the top league, and so you can just play that. And first game is against the top team in there, and we lost 23-0.
Oh my god.
And watching this feels like that when it's just like
I've
they're
been
not going
there.
to stop. They're not going to stop, are they? They should stop. They should know that we aren't ready.
This is respect. You should be showing us respect here.
Just as humans, just empathy. Just show me pity. I'll take pity.
Well, you know who's got no pity? Puskas.
And the outside left Seaboard, right over on the right wing. Oh, and lovely goal! Minutes, Hungary 3, England 1. And that was Pushkas, the inside left-wing captain, who scored that one. And my goodness, if he can turn on tricks like this, we also had him on the music hall. I've never seen such tremendous balls themselves as that exhibition of that back heel and then the quick shot. 3-1 then for Hungary.
Pitiless Puskas passes the poacher's pocket to put the Hungarians 3-1 up after
Wow.
24 minutes.
I mean, just for a second, wow, this is a brilliant goal. If you don't look for anything that happens in this game today, look for this goal. This is brilliant.
Yeah, top dollar, top draw. I'll let you explain. Well, I mean, you've explained all the others, but I know this one gets you happy, shall we say so?
Yeah. Well, it's just something really special. You don't even expect to see from kind of like the 1950s. So yeah, Budai is deep and wide in England's half. Seaboard goes on the underlap behind Eckersley, who has been absolutely nowhere defending that channel all day. Seaboard cuts it back for Puskas just inside England's 6-yard box on the right hand side. Billy Wright looks to close him down and dives into a tackle. Puskas pops his left foot on the ball, drags it backwards towards him. Wright dives in and totally misses it, and Puskas just smashes it past the keeper. What a piece of skill. It's just like a bit of magic.
It's those little bits of skill, isn't it, that's really like catching the eye of and shocking the crowd, because it's like, as we said, straight passing's like a superpower. So to have the composure to just drag the ball or like do a little, I don't have to step overs, but that level, it's you know, it's not Ronaldinho, but it's what is the basis for all skill kind of going forward.
And I don't think the crowd quite know what's happened. Like there's a noise that's made when he does the skill and he kind of hits it in, and the commentators just can't believe what he sees. But at the same time, I don't think they know what they've seen. Like the crowd, like you'd actually imagine it'd be a much bigger gasp if they could figure it out. But yeah,
The build-up play to this goal was so good.
yeah.
That would not seem out of place on a match of the day.
If that goal scored today, that's one of the goals of the season.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Absolutely.
The skill, it would be clipped and straight on Instagram, but I say all the build-up to it, I really liked it. I mean, this is... It's 24 minutes in. I didn't swear loudly then. I'd wanted to, because what the hell is happening? I mean, like,
They're
it's
just
almost
they're
like
just unprepared.
it's almost just like stop the game
Yeah.
and either restart it,
Yeah.
which would be tragic, or just go, you know what? Sorry, everyone, get back to work. Leave Wembley.
We've
Leave
made
Wembley.
a terrible error here. What have we done?
It's like Ron Burgundy when he jumps into that bear pit.
Yeah.
I immediately regret this decision.
That is all the England players. I mean, Billy Wright pretty much automatically regrets the decision, but you kind of look at it and you go, oh, he's a bit stupid for diving in there.
Yeah.
But like, in what world is he thinking that's going to happen? Like, that's less bad about Billy Wright and what he's done, more just incredible what Puskas has done. I mean, even he knows that something special, kind of like, he's brilliant. He just walks away, both arms in the air, belly out, and even in like the 3 pixels that we've got to choose from to watch the game, you can still see he's smiling.
I just can't believe that since England scored, they've conceded 2 more goals.
In about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental. They do get back up the other end, giving it to Matthews. He's the only one who really looks capable of of being able to do anything for England. He looks to shimmy and beat a man, but even in defence, Hungary are quite well marshalled and organised as well with their two at the back or whatever it was.
They just make him pass it sideways because they're like, well, we've heard about this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought our TVs. We bought them over here. We thought about it, and yeah, we've seen him already. But yeah, I don't really understand at this point either what free kicks are being given for.
Yeah.
Like it seems like at random times the commentator goes, "Oh, that's a foul for England." And you're like, "What's different to anything else that's happened on the pitch at this point?"
Just before the first free kick of the game on something which always shocks me is the rules around keepers like pass backs and closing them down and stuff like that. So there's a cross from Matthews which the Hungarian keeper collects. But then he's just like running all around his penalty box because England players are just chasing him down, like almost doing star jumps in front of him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he does get it away, obviously, because he's class and they're all class. But yeah, madness, man. Them keepers needed to be protected a long time before they actually were.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this is in the era of kind of like you can just smash a keeper into the goal, and if the ball goes in, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the ball does go in again.
The referee here last year when England beat Belgium by 5 goals to 0. And it's a right half box kick. And you take the kick. It's a goal, my goodness! And that is now after 27 minutes. Hungary 4, England 1. And that goal was scored by Fiskus, the inside left, who just deflected that free kick. Absolutely bamboozled the whole of the England defense.
And it's 4-1 to Hungary.
A frankly hilarious goal to concede.
Yeah, I think it's Badai who just he strides up to the free. It's a free kick, as you mentioned, so one is given. He strides up to the free kick, hits it towards the keeper's left hand side, but it's pretty much sort of smashed at Puskas, and he gets a little flick on it somehow. I mean, it's not your traditional wall, is it? There's two men. Sort of, it's so weird.
Yeah.
He basically hits a free kick at his own player. It hits off him, and it just does the keeper.
He just bobbles into the other corner, does it? Where Merrick's not going and goes into that corner. I almost felt like watching it. That was like they planned that.
Yeah.
Because Puskas makes a run across England's penalty area, like just before he hits it, and you think, well, that's weird. He's kind of getting in the way. But it's kind of like dribbles off his foot and just goes into the bottom corner like he was trying to do like another back flick. But it's not as beautiful, but it's just like no one can quite believe what's happened at this point because that's just so funny.
Well, England are already beaten, and I just think they must be thinking there is some kind of curse or like religious fuckeries in the air, man. Because what can they do? What could you do but just go look at the clock and think there's an hour more, an hour
We're
more?
4-1 down at home. We've never lost a home game to a continental team before.
I think they're on course to concede like 12.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, we wouldn't put it past them. I mean, the commentator says that I've been told before there's been a lot of ballyhoo about these Hungarians and England would win. And here they are, 4-1 up. So the commentator's taking none of that shit, is he?
Ballyhoo.
I know, I loved that phrase. The commentator doesn't offer much of analysis, but he kind of just leaves dead air after the England goals. Like he's just letting everybody at home go, wow, that's happening now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Match of the century is not what I'd call it.
Just drubbing of the century, probably.
It's just really, really notable. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, one of these teams is professional and one isn't, and it's the wrong teams.
Yeah. Oh, Croix, of course.
Yeah. So Hungary technically on a professional side. Yeah, they're all again naval officers and God knows what else in the army. But there's also the commentator says there's no use holding it against these boys. As in like, well, you can't blame them. They're just doing their job.
Yeah. To stay with the commentator for a little bit. He notes everything seems prearranged to these Hungarians, how they can dart into position.
Yeah.
And it's like he has to not just report on the game as it happens, but like it's almost like he's explaining a new piece of technology. And he's almost like going, and this button is the pause button. And this allows you, so you could be watching your favorite shows and then it stops. But not just that, you can pick it up from where it's left off. But it's about football, and he's just like, now they're using something called a midfield, which I've read a lot about prior to this game. And apparently it's two players playing in a central position, and they're feeding it forward to what are known as strickers,
I don't know if I've read that right.
strikers. Yeah, he's caught by surprise, obviously, but to be fair, he's doing a half decent job of explaining it.
I think he's doing a really good job because clearly he's not seen stuff like this before either, and he does a real good job of kind of talking you through what's going on.
Yeah.
To on the pitch and why the England players have no idea what's going on. Like at one point he mentions like squad numbers, like, well, they're number 4. Actually, he's playing in defence.
Yeah, yeah.
You just never see that before. I mean, I can't see his number of his shirt anyway through the fog, but still.
Yeah, the effing fog, eh? Well, England are 4-1 down after 30 minutes. Another breather, please. And no, there's not. I'm not going straight to a goal there. But can you remember anything like this after this?
The only thing I can kind of like compare it to is the 7-1, you know, Brazil-Germany.
Okay.
That's kind of what I can think.
I agree with
the
you.
Closest thing, because I remember watching that at the time and just going, what is going on? This is like special, but in like a horrible way, because it was Brazil's World Cup.
That's all I can remember of. Is there anything England-wise?
Not to this level. This is crazy to be unbeaten at home, really confident.
One of the worst games I remember is the 2010 World Cup against Germany, and that finished 4-1.
Yeah, true.
You know, so it was this it's condensed into 30 minutes.
I know, and it's the fear kind of that there's more time left. Like if you follow a team and you go, bloody hell, they're down by this many goals, and there's like the time is almost the more scary thing. Like I'm always a way of, I'd rather be watching a game than not watching it, because you can at least you feel like, well, if I'm watching, you're kind of living it and not living in the unknown. These England players are living it. They are literally on the pitch just going, this is awful.
Yeah. What can you do?
Well, yeah, there's not really much you can do, is there? I mean, England do make a chance. The crossing from Matthews, and it's headed forward, but even their keeper, it just looks miles better than the England keeper as well, doesn't he?
Makes a really good save from the header. Like the technique, it's ahead of its time, really, going for the save.
Yeah.
All hope is lost, right?
Well, all of a sudden, we're taken to Hungary for a very different and excitable take on the action.
Megint előre vágja Sewell, fejére Sewell, tovább Dickinsonnak, Dickinson a magyar csapat térfelére közepéről indít el támadás, ott van Mortensennél, Mortensen áttör Lórás felett, ott van Buzsácki, Mortensen lő!
It's 4-2, we think?
Yeah.
Is it 4-2?
This could be a conspiracy, like the moon landing. The second goal never happened.
So footage can't be found of this goal.
You see the ball go in the net, right?
You kind of do, but it's like from behind the goal, like it's been like recorded by accident. So the version we've got, we've looked for, but yeah, England score. I'll tell you what the goal's like, but we don't know. But yeah, from the minor frames, you can see the videos, and like Mortensen's all alone in the area and just hits it in the bottom corner. All I know is that the commentator is chilling, and I just want to go back to my lovely, safe old English person.
Well, it also patches in from another film, and you've got commentary that's clearly from decades later as well. He's got like a thick northern accent, which just would not have happened in these times. That you wouldn't have had an accent. It's got to be RP, language that everyone can understand. Steven Gerrard 2010 vibes with the missed goal. Did it ever happen?
Which one?
The America against USA when ITV HD could take.
Yeah, it never happened. Yeah. But that northern commentator is really funny because in the background you can just hear the Hungarian commentator, and it's so creepy because it's like he's coming through him through time and space, and this commentator is gaining on him.
Budai inside to Pushkas. Slammed into him by Billy right there. Back to Budai again. Budai. Coaches. Budai. And he goes out for a Hungarian corner. With the corner, Budai. Header.
He's terrifying. He's just like he's shouting in another room, and he's just threatening to come in.
Terrifying and odd in equal measures. There's an odd line about substitutes here.
Yeah, it says a goalkeeper can be changed up to the 44th minute as long as it's an injury. This seems really specific, even for this
44th minute as well.
Like it can only be I guess up to the 44th minute. I don't really understand what's happening because I think the Hungarian keeper or the England keeper have got a bit of a knock. So like, oh, well,
Yeah.
they can actually substitute him at this point, but we'll just have
If
to
I was
find
the
out.
England keeper, mate, I'd be having a
Yeah,
knock.
I would be off that pitch.
I'd be down the boozer
Yeah.
with a mask on.
Yeah, well, both teams do start creating a bit more chances. The Hungary keeper even like does a bit of a sweeper keeper. Like as the ball comes forward, he just comes out and kicks it in his penalty area, and you're like, even that's like really almost like innovative, almost.
Yeah,
Because it was like they just stay on the line. That's your job. Don't be doing anything stupid.
all right, Roy Keane. I'll be honest. Pretty much every touch they've done has been like really impressive.
Yeah,
They've let in 2 goals though.
they have.
One and
one kind of we don't know about that.
and a ghost goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's just chaos. And I think it's, they just call half time, regroup, and just sort yourselves out, lads.
Yeah. If I was England again, I'd be in Hungary's dressing room offering them big time
Bribes.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
no more of this.
Yeah.
Let us have one back.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's half time. We've seen bad England teams and other teams, but this is like they're playing a different sport and England just don't know the rules to it.
Yeah. This could probably never happen again. I mean, with England as the the loser, you see England play some teams in there and they beat them like 7-8-0. But it's so fascinating to see this. It's really weird, man. It's like I saw a video. It feels like something that you shouldn't be able to see.
Yeah, it's like snuff or something.
Like
Like a snuff video.
I saw a video on Instagram the other week, and it was some guy who was like royal security almost, and he just had his camera on himself, selfieing, and then the Queen walked around the corner, and he was just smiling, but it was just the Queen in like a non.
I thought you were gonna say like in a nightie.
No, she was just being like sort of walked out to what I guess was like a speaking event or an appearance, but like it was that she wasn't controlling the situation. Do you know what I mean? And the caption was, "I feel like it should be illegal to see this."
Yeah.
And it did feel like that. This feels like that. This feels like, God, get your propaganda on and hide this, man.
I know, yeah, definitely.
It's time for the second half, though. Can we trudge on?
Yes. It can't get any worse, really, can it? England, they'll come fighting back. We know our brave boys will.
If you could have one manager in that England dressing room at half time,
It would not be Graham Taylor.
I'd probably have Capello in there.
Oh my God. Could you imagine what he'd do to people? He'd do that thing, does he? No, you're fucking shit, and just smash him. You did everything I said. You did everything right. No, you didn't.
Yeah, he would. I think the language barrier would be even more difficult at this time as well. They would not be happy, but they can't be happy anyway. So it's getting foggier as well. That's the first thing I noticed. I mean, it's looking hard to see out there. Is that a hello, Mr. Scapegoat?
Yeah, an excuse maybe.
Yeah, excuse. That's it, Mr. Excuse.
Yeah, I mean, with all that kind of stuff, you always see that of like, yeah, but it's foggy for them too.
Yeah,
Like,
we were playing in the direction of the fog, maybe.
Do you remember the slight time? Do you remember the England-Croatia game where the Wally with the Brolly game?
Oh yeah.
I always remember like, oh well, the Wembley turf was really bad that day, and it was like, well, what were Croatia playing on space hoppers or something or boards? Like, oh yeah, we were just like muddling along with us. We were. They were still better than England. So yeah, when you get these kind of like excuses and whatever, you never know.
Blaming on the weather, mate.
I know. Well, England, I thought were all right in the last 10 minutes of the first half. They at least looked like they'd kind of calmed down and they got on a bit of a plan and a bit of momentum after the ghost goal as well. Matthews, start of this looks pretty good as well. His good work produces a corner.
That's fair. That's fair. They did. We glossed over it, but watching the game, they did end the first half quite well.
They did, yeah. It was a bit more even. Like Hungary was still making chances, but England was still in it too. The corner, brings a good save from the Hungarian goalkeeper as well at this point too. And all of a sudden, Mortensen's taken off, but he's taken off by the Hungarians.
Yeah. So from the there's a cross, isn't there, by Matthews, and Mortensen goes diving in for this header, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Like he just does the header, sort of diving-ish, and then just falls and he's on the floor. And is it Billy Wright as well who made the cross? Who's on the floor?
I'm not sure though. There's
But
two players
Mortensen
injured. Isn't there?
is knocked out, injured.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
cold.
He is fully out, isn't he? Completely out. So much of the Hungarian players actually stand him up and bring him off the pitch, like pure sitcom style.
Yeah,
and he's like, his arms aren't even moving as well. He's like moving him around like a big piece of furniture.
But they're not bothered. They just like get him out of here and not even take him anywhere safe. They just put him by all the Jim from Friday Night Dinners, having the pictures out on the side of
They
the
literally
pitch.
just flop him down like he's a carpet, don't they?
Also, that's not a safe place for him. All they have to do is like one shot that goes a bit wide, and that ball could smash him in the face.
I know it's a bit.
Did he get kicked in the head? Do you think?
I don't know what happened. Something happened, and he just hits the ground, doesn't he? And he's properly out. I mean, he wouldn't continue probably today like that if he's
Just
so
shows,
cut
man.
out.
If it was just a header, like the attitude towards health and safety by people across the years. If a man headers a football and is knocked unconscious, then they just go, well, it can't be the ball's fault because the
Yeah.
ball's just a ball.
I'm heading it as well.
Yeah. And I'm fine for now.
And thankfully, like magic, Mortensen's back up. You must just hit him over the head with a hammer or something to wake him up. But then you get Billy Wright injured too.
Yeah. So, yeah, not a great start. But I'll tell you what, I think England would have taken 2 players going down injured instead of 2 early goals. So they've got through the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, and kind of as play stopped, England and Hungary players both contest for the ball, and the commentator calls it a bounce out or a bouncer. When he said bouncer, I was like, "What? There's a bouncer coming on the field? Like, what's going on here?"
You probably do need one, man,
Yeah,
to get rid of that Mortensen. Looks like it's been dragged out of a club.
No, yeah. Stanley Matthews has been far England's best player, and I don't really understand why he's seen as the problem. He's clearly like the best player, and like the problem must be somewhere else, and with the whole system, really.
Do you think in this era that like just having one player was good enough to get you quite far? Like one good player, sorry.
Yeah, as long as you kind of had like sensible players all around him, you'd probably say, again, I don't think that the Blackpool team were exactly bad, but he's the standout player in there. And I guess they've got 4 players from the Blackpool team inside. I mean, it just
I guess
shows
there's just ones who over time their story stays. You never really hear about the players around them. If you get the goals, then you're the man.
Yeah. Well, speaking of goals,
Number 5, don't think that's the centre half. That's the right half. Pushed it. And that's it. Hit the post. That's it. It's going! So after 52 minutes, England 2, Hungary 5. And that goal goes to the right half-back, Batship.
God's sake.
oh my God. Well, the ball's been in play for about 2 minutes in this half on 52 minutes because everyone's been concussed or injured or God knows what. And Hungary have got a 5th.
Yeah,
Fifth
5-2.
goal. Yep. So they move down the right. Puskas does kind of like a bit of a similar turn for his goal. Crosses a header and it's saved onto the post by Merrick, but it bounces out and from outside the area, Bosic just smashes it in, and the camera can't even keep up with the ball. He hits it that hard. You just see it leave his foot, and then it just cuts, and the ball's already in the back of the net.
Yeah, it's like these days in modern times. I think after that first half, you'd probably just see, not that many goals in the second, but they've just come out and started it pretty much exactly as the first, smashing it in from distance. It is like FIFA on amateur mode.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
They just can't stop scoring.
I mean, you've got Bosic as well, who's actually a member of Parliament at the time of this as well. Just incredible. You get all these like FA Cup draws of, these guys are painters and decorators and do that really condescending thing. But these guys have got like proper important jobs.
Yeah,
like
naval
these guys
officers and MPs.
I know. Could you imagine an MP like hitting a ball that well? And it's all just such horrible kind of.
You know what?
Like,
I can't.
No. Can I shock you?
Rishi?
No chance. But yeah, England just seem like they are shocked. It's like they've been given like a mystery opponent and Steve Austin's music's played and they're just like, oh my God, what is happening?
It's like a squash match in the wrestling.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like putting Brock Lesnar versus the Hurricane or something like that. And it's just like, they are going to get knocked about.
I mean, it's it is like they've just gone, we don't know what to do here now. This is actually terrifying, and
It's terrifying.
yeah.
It really is, man.
I mean, this is their like professional lives as well. They've got to think about in this game.
I would. Well, yeah. I suppose that discounts my point, but I don't think quitting would be the worst thing they could do. I think they should seriously consider just going up to the referee and just going, "Can we just finish this?"
Can you just blow the whistle?
And if you don't, I probably will just walk off anyway.
I'm going. If you blow that whistle or not, it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm not being funny. We can still get in 10 hours before last orders if we leave now.
I know. But the commentator as well, he says that the Hungary side are playing football, like the Harlem Globetrotters play basketball. I didn't think they were invented at this point, the Harlem
Oh,
Globetrotters.
surely they must.
I
How
think
could
they-
he,
oh,
how
no,
could he
they
make that
were.
reference?
I mean, like I had to look into it. I think it was like the
Uh-huh.
20s or something. I was like, that's really, like, I thought they were more of like a 60s thing, but I don't know. Media. But yeah, we get a few more tricks, let's say.
They seem to play football as the Harlem Globetrotters play basketball as Hungarian side. Puskas. With a booty, it's a goal!
Oh, make it stop.
Oh my God. Well, 52 minutes. It's 6-2 to Hungary.
This is a this is a great goal as well. And it's not bad as the Harlem Globetrotters link was because it's just piss take, isn't it? Really.
It's funny he kind of says that Harlem Globetrotters line just before an amazing piece of skill like this as well. You'd almost say that's kind of rigged or something, the way you set it up, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah, Puskas starts to play. He's playing a bit deeper just because he fancies it.
Yeah.
Spraying passes all over the pitch just because he fancies it. Takes up a position outside the area, controls a dropping ball, knocks it up on his knee, then plays a pass over England's two defenders, which Hideguti volleys into the net first time. Again, that is
A joke.
that is like it's like dads versus kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But skillful dads, not
Yeah,
like state dads.
Yeah, like Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard against their kids when they were kids.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's a hat trick for Hideguti.
Yeah, incredible, really. The commentator says that the Hungarians are being reprimanded by the referee for taking too long with their celebrations. They're 6-2 up.
Yeah.
You should be happy that they're just wasting time at this
In the
point.
match of the century, lest we
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah, again, it was billed as that, and it's become that as well. And somehow, straight away, England don't concede again. I mean, this just has to be stopped now. If it was a fight, this genuinely would be stopped. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
like at half time, it would have been like when you see a fighter go back into like their corner after a round, and it's like they are not here at all, are they?
25 minutes. That's when it would have been called off.
Yeah,
I think it was
probably.
4-1 after 25 minutes, wasn't it? Or 3-1.
I've definitely lost track. I mean, well, you never know. All seems lost, and then England get a penalty.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Hungary are a bit of a mess at the back in defence, and the ball looks like it's going out, and it's kept in, and the keeper just dives on the floor and brings down an England player.
and it's Alf Ramsey
Alf.
who converts the penalty.
He does.
There must be Alf Ramsey. Here he comes.
Well done, Alf.
Just the 3 more to get now, lads. Carry on.
Is it wrong? Well, 2 points here. Really funny that Alf Ramsey he just runs he just runs away. Like he kicks the penalty, and as soon as he crosses that line, he doesn't collect the ball. He just runs away, so you can't see him on the replay or not the replay, or even just the moments afterwards.
Yeah.
Is it wrong that I'm thinking, you know what? 6-3 with 30 minutes to go.
We've seen a lot of goals so far. Can England get back into it, you're thinking?
It's not a fair. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And if it was today, and it was big teams, you'd just think, soddy.
Just go for it.
Like, yeah. I mean,
It's already an embarrassment.
yeah,
Let's make
yeah.
it less of an embarrassment.
6-3 is not a fair representation of the game.
No, they should have literally scored double figures by now. Hungary, they are
Yes.
so much better than England, and England fans start booing the goalkeeper from Hungary like he's time wasting, because he's holding his arm.
Hate time wasting so much that
Oh,
even when it benefits them.
I know, yeah, not acceptable, is it at all? I mean, they're hardly time wasting, because straight away they go up the other end, and they miss an open goal pretty much. It's just crazy.
Can happen to the best of us.
It's all right. Don't worry, everyone. England's set piece specialist, Alf Ramsey, has got a free kick on the edge of the area. He tries to slide it to one of his other players, and hilariously, he just trickles out for a goal kick. I mean, it's like he's pressed the wrong button on Pro or something, doesn't it? He just so weirdly goes out, like they've got a little trick up their sleeve of, I'll pass it instead of shooting.
I thought it wasn't a bad idea.
It wasn't a bad idea. The execution is just terrible. It's awful.
Could have made it 6-4 for God's sake.
I know.
We're kind of approaching the last knocks for this game.
I think it was 60 minutes in that Alf Ramsey scores. But it's noted the Hungarian youth team as well won the World Youth Championships recently. I think they could beat England. This team is clearly that good, and they've just got another load of them on the way too.
Yeah. Well, we'll look at the aftermath very shortly. I'd be interested to wonder whether they haven't matched up to performances like this over the years, have they, Hungary?
No. I think this is clearly their golden generation.
I think you could put them on the pitch right now in this game and say we're starting again, and that England would be so demoralised and shell shocked that they would lose to a youth team, 100%.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, as we kind of like wrap up here now, the game, it kind of carries on. I mean, there is literally another 3 chances that Hungary probably could have scored if they were concentrating, but yeah, they've just got nothing. And one of the points, the commentator goes, "I'm sure he just flicked that with the back of his boot." Again, never seen that before either.
Yeah. Is that allowed? Just flicking through the rule book.
Yeah, just like paper just going past. I mean, he describes the false 9 creating a yawning gap in England's defence, which is great. And we get our goalkeeper substitution with 7 minutes to go as well.
I thought they could only do it up to 44 minutes.
See, that's what he told us, but now we've got a substitute with 7 minutes to go, and the commentator goes, "Over to you then."
Yeah.
As in, like, well, England are going to come at you now. Now the other guy's not in goal.
I know, yeah. They've been waiting for this. I mean, this bloody keeper, man, he's so good. We just need to wait till they get the sub-keeper on.
We've not bothered the other keeper
Then we
at all.
attack. You ready? Lulled them into such a false sense of security. But it's not actually the case because that's it.
That's it. The match of the century is over.
And England have been absolutely spanked.
Well worse than the scoreline of 6-3, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. What a performance from Hungary. What an insane match. And I don't want to say an embarrassment for England, but considering the lack of context, lack of sensible context around the game, it probably would have been seen as an embarrassment.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, England would probably play that game 100 more times, and 99 times Hungary would win that. And then the other one, Hungary would just be busy, so couldn't do the game. So, it's just an absolute mauling, isn't it?
What a mauling. Let's look at the aftermath, because I know for a fact 13 years later things get better, but that seems quite a quick turnaround, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, from this, really. So we'll look at England first. And yeah, obviously this is seen as a real touchstone moment for English football. It turned out to be the last time Eckersley, Johnson, Taylor, Robb, Mortensen and Alf Ramsey would all play. So they're all in the bin now.
Yeah.
Don't need them anymore.
Oh, well. God, well, that's the problem solved then.
Yeah, just get rid of players. Just blame individuals, not the entire system. We are English after all.
Yeah.
The result led to what's probably the first time we've seen a big review of training and tactics used by an England team after failing at an international level. So it's
the first inquest.
Yeah, the first inquest, definitely.
I'm surprised that they took that approach. I feel like they would have just given up. I know I've said that
football
quite a lot. No, but just like, why try that much after watching that? Could you really be asked to put in the effort to make sure we're as good as them?
Don't know. Well, it's
when you know about like that they're not taking it seriously enough, that the manager's cooking breakfast for all the players and booking flights and stuff like that. And
maybe that's why they've got to go. Like, well, this clearly didn't work, did it?
I would just go, you know what? Cricket, man. Cricket and rugby. Let's just forget this football. Probably the fact that they got Wembley is the only reason they did it. Like, we can't just let that be nothing. Can't just be a concert venue.
Yes, convert it into something else. But
I suppose club football's there, and it probably is. Even though it's only really becoming like televised around this time in small doses, it would still have been the nation's favourite sport.
I mean, I'm definitely on the side of, I think it was a good idea they carried on playing football. I'm just going to go out there and say that.
I just can't be. I can't imagine how they could have woken up the next day and gone, right, we've got quite a lot of work to do, haven't we?
Bloody good game that was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hey, 3 cheers for Puskas.
Hip, hip. Definitely. Winterbottom is slaving away at the oven, just shouting, "Shut up!"
Yeah.
But we have figures like Don Revy and Alf Ramsey decided to adopt some of the tactical methods they'd seen into their own thinking as well. I think Don Revy decided to turn himself into a false nine at this point. Again, how much of that's bollocks, I don't really know.
False nine.
I know, yeah.
Back at this time.
Well, we'd seen it. This was the first kind of, start
Yeah.
of one, wasn't there? So that it was a thing, but
So you got, yeah. I did think it's weird that Ramsey's managing, but
not that far away, really.
yeah.
is
So
it?
they've gone. We've got ideas and we've played. It's almost like how I was going to say how managers these days are getting younger, but I guess they've always kind of. It feels like younger managers are given bigger jobs more now.
Oh yeah, definitely. You look at like a younger manager like Gerrard and Lampard. They've been given big jobs for how experienced they are. But I guess,
Xavi,
well, yeah, exactly.
Christ, Zidane as well, really.
Yeah, he was very young, Guardiola as well. And you
yeah.
kind of see more these days, guys who haven't played football at any kind of level. They've always had to have been big players or players at a certain level. But now you get more people who are kind of like, well, they retired when they were like 23 and they've just thrown themselves all into coaching too.
So what happened next then? Obviously, you got the overhaul and the inquest and the the longer term. But
Yeah.
after this, I mean, what do you do next? Other than
So-
give up, in my opinion.
Well, they had something as they had something planned next. So next game they go to Hampden and win 4-2 against Scotland.
Go on.
No, just get back to basics now. The home nations are back because this was both a home nations championship match and a World Cup qualifying game. So just bundled them together and gone, yeah, just do them at the same time.
We're only having one of the
I'm
British.
not, I'm not coming back again.
Yeah.
Right. We're doing this once. That game sent England to the 1954 World Cup. That's how you do it. Combine the games. That's what we want.
It's like all these stipulations, man. Again, wrestling vibes.
Yeah,
Like-
for both belts.
we're going to play you, Scotland, but World Cup qualification is on the line, brother. This is not just a home nations match, and they have to do a contract signing.
Do you remember when we said that this defeat to Hungary was the most dominating performance we've probably ever seen against an England side?
About 2 minutes ago, I remember it fondly.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
England scheduled a return game against Hungary in May 1954 prior to the World Cup.
This time in a Hell in a Cell.
Well, it was arranged before they'd actually played today's game. So England thought that the return game would be the following up of them going, back in your box, Hungary, from Wembley, with a treat for the Hungarian people to see the originators of football play their little upstarts.
Well, again, I'm kind of liking this, but the way for it to work would be you'd have to there'd be no guaranteed football games, and you could only get it by calling out other teams.
Yeah.
Like you could go. I just want to say to Brazil, I think you're like a little slugs, yeah. If you want the real money match, you come and play Southgate.
Yeah, it's very Conor McGregor, isn't it, with all that? But so England are going over to Hungary, and it's an absolute mauling. England lose 7-1.
Oh,
So this is much worse.
well, it's one more in each direction, isn't it?
No.
It's two. Two for we scored
Yeah.
two less.
That is 6 clear goals England lose by right before a World Cup. Get your confidence up, lads.
Definitely give up there.
Yeah. If I was in the England team, I think I'd rather be sent down the pits again and play that game. You could not pay me enough money to go, we're playing who away? No chance. I'm busy that day.
They are the pits,
I know.
but they go to the World Cup. How do they get on there?
England go to the World Cup and they're eliminated 4-2 by Uruguay. I think they may be world champions at that point, actually. But yeah, this is when they need to start thinking about how they need to change everything. Now the campaign's over, they go away and try and think, how can they right these wrongs? And as you say, it's a little while until they do win the World Cup, but there's new ideas and thinking, and this is seen as the moment that they just had to do something.
That's really interesting. I'd love to know a bit. I guess there's probably books about that period, but I mean,
Where do you start?
where do you start, man?
Yeah.
Where do you start? Let's have a look at Hungary because they're the story.
They're absolutely
As is often the case when we pick an England loss. There's a reason, and the other team are
usually better.
usually better and quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I think Hungary now go through their most successful and controversial period in their history. So, following the following year, Hungary go to the World Cup in 1954 in Switzerland. They beat South Korea 9-0 and West Germany 8-3 in the group stage.
Oh God!
So they're just still at it, aren't they?
Yeah,
In the Germany game, though,
they
Puskas
don't have any respect.
no respect. That's what these guys have got.
No respect.
In the Germany game, Puskas actually suffered an ankle hairline fracture by a foul by German central defender
That is gutting.
Werner Lieberich, meaning that Puskas would only play again in the tournament if Hungary made the final.
Gutting.
I know, your best player, and you just think, yep, he's going to run the tournament for us. He's going to do everything, and yeah, they need to get to the final if he's going to play again.
And they actually do. They beat Brazil 4-2 and Uruguay by the same scoreline. Again, a complete lack of respect.
Oh yeah,
And Uruguay had knocked England out, right? Didn't
Yeah,
they knock
yeah.
England out 4-2?
yeah, they
A
did.
lot of 4-2s in here.
It's just goals galore, isn't it? At this
England
point?
have looked at that and gone, that's the score.
yeah,
That's the score we need to work towards.
that's very true, isn't it? Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
So they're in the final.
Yeah, they're favourites for the final where they'd play West Germany again. So West Germany had gone through their group
And
2,
they'd already beat them 8-3.
8-3. Yeah. So yeah, but the problem,
It's got to be...
well,
I know they don't win the World Cup, but I'm just thinking how.
Hungary have loads of problems going into the final. So the players are too tired and exhausted due to having to go into extra time in that Uruguay game. So that took a lot out of them. But also, the night before the final, they're kept up at their hotel by a village fair taking place outside. So they got no kip at all.
Switzerland, supposed to be neutral.
I know, yeah, just
Absolutely stuffing the Hungarians.
I know. Also, as we said, Puskás only partially fit to play the game, and also the game was played in heavy rain conditions that the German side had christened Fritz Walter weather due to their player Walter being known to play his best football in the rain.
What the hell?
I know, just wild that, isn't it? And the last little thing as well.
That's mad. Just on that.
yeah.
Imagine that these days.
Oh,
Like,
it's better when it's raining.
yeah, like
Get him on.
Yeah, yeah. You just like it's a big Champions League night here, and you just sense the atmosphere is right. But I don't insert a player name here. Like nobody's famous for that anymore. You know, can you
what-
think of anyone who is noted for playing in the wet?
But what condition? Why is he good in wet conditions? I don't understand the benefit of what the water around him. Like, why is he good? Is he good at slide
His
tackling?
just balance is unreal.
Wow.
Everyone else is falling. Like, have you seen that picture of him when everybody else on the pitch is just on the floor and
Yeah.
he's just standing above it?
Surfing.
Yeah,
It's like Sol Campbell's never-ending slide tackle. It's just that's where he's at his
Sol's
best.
just going past him and he's like Mario Kart or what the Frogger.
yeah. Also, Germany were given Adidas boots, which featured new exchangeable screw-in
yeah.
studs. So, the boots could be adapted to any weather, enabling the German players to wear their regular footwear despite the adverse
That
weather
is so
conditions.
smart.
I know.
Screw in studs,
Yeah.
change it.
So you're used to the footwear as well. So it's not
Yeah.
even the fact that it's a different boot. It's the same boot. You just altering it.
That is bloody genius.
Well, it's very German, isn't it?
Yeah,
Very
so
intelligent.
efficient and
Yeah.
intelligent. So Germany win,
Yeah. So Germany.
presumably.
Yeah. So basically, Puskás does play and he scores early, and Hungary race into a 2-0 lead. The problem is Hungary lose total control of the game, and it went on to lose 3-2.
They
Amazing.
caught that England virus.
I know, yeah. Well, they do that, and I think it's all these things coming back as the game goes on, and they get more tired. Puskás clearly isn't at that level that he needs to be fitness wise, and yeah, this ends up being the final stand for this great generation of players because it kind of all goes wrong from here on.
Almost, I could be wrong. It feels like almost the final stand for Hungarian football at that level.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
I definitely in our lifetime, they've never even been.
Yeah, they're not near, are they? I think when we did the France game, I think that was a good Hungary team that England had to play in their qualifying. I think that was seen as one of the the next level down of a really good Hungary side, but nothing compared to this. I mean, like you say, winning by joke score lines to like proper professional teams.
So the gang breaks up.
Yeah, yeah. So many of the Hungary team also played for Budapest Honved, who were entered into the 1956 European Cup and drew Athletic Bilbao. Honved lost in Spain 3-2, but before the home leg could be played, the Hungarian Revolution erupted in Budapest, and the players decided against going back to Hungary and arranged for the return game with Bilbao to be played in Brussels.
The players arranged that.
I think it was just a case of we can't play it at home because it's all kicking off,
Yeah.
basically.
It's more examples of players doing their admin in the 50s.
Yeah, Winterbottom's just like, oh, thank God, I've got nothing to do with that.
Yeah. I thought I had it bad.
yeah. Honved were eliminated 6-5 on aggregate, but but wouldn't return to Hungary and sent for the families to come over from Budapest.
So they stayed in Brussels.
In Brussels, yeah. So then Honved then arranged a fundraising tour of Italy, Portugal, Spain, and Brazil. FIFA and the Hungarian FA opposed this decision, but
Oh, that's nice of them.
I know, yeah. There's like it's all breaking out and kicking off, and they're trying to like fundraise themselves something because they're clearly not making money at this point, really.
Yeah, so it's not for the cause; it's for the players and the families.
Yeah, basically, because they've
enough.
all just had to leave, basically. But yeah, upon leaving Brazil, some of the players returned to Hungary, while others found new homes across Western Europe.
That's
So they
tragic.
pretty much never returned home. Some of these players, like after the Honved players, anyway. And as we said, because Honved pretty much were the national side kind of breaks up too. And then you look at someone in 1956 here. Puskás plays his last game for Honved and emigrates to Spain and signs for Real Madrid in 1958,
Mad.
scoring 244 goals in 262 games, doing what he does best.
Not bothered, is he?
No, well, he wins the top scorer in the league on 4 occasions and wins 3 European Cups on the way. So
Incredible.
even in all that, all the awfulness around it, he still manages to do great things like that. A true all-time great. But he also does the weird thing that we talked about earlier when he actually switches sides and he ends up playing 4 games for Spain, which is wild, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess was he just a bit too old for that to work out, or did not feel right, or
Yeah, I think he only plays 4 games. I think it's just because he was that old at that point. I think. I mean, you're thinking his peak would have been mid 50s. And when we get to this point here, 61, 62 is when he finishes playing for Spain 4 times. So.
maybe it was a gesture, for the country who kind of gave him exile.
Yeah, and they took him in and looked after him, after his family, and kind of made him what was the the first sports international star into one of the all-time greats who's talked about so much, really. And you see why with the record like he's got.
Amazing. And yet another team no offense to this England side, they can't match, can they? And yet another team that
To fall in love with,
to
really.
fall in love with, yeah. Scotland 67, Hungary
The Poland
53, the
team.
Poland team of the 70s. Yeah, we're building up a nice list here.
I know.
Only one more question to go, Nick. What was this Hungary?
Was it? It was definitely Hungary, wasn't it?
Was it England though? Actually,
In a way, I think it was. It's kind of overconfident, underprepared, and totally outclassed. To me, it's so England. It might as well have just gone out of the tournament while they were doing this.
yeah, it's kind of hard to say for me as well. But I would side with you. I mean, at times this wasn't even football.
No,
So it's hard to say whether this was England because it was like a different sport, as we said. But I think England they did show a lot of spirit.
Yeah.
Maybe to that stiff upper lip, and again, maybe I don't know. There's something there that is still within the England team. I think where they just have to face up to some harsh realities from time to time, and they don't go mad. Do they when they do it? They don't start like lunging in or like.
yeah, it could have got quite violent. You think if this was probably a couple of decades later, it would get very violent. But
They just take the loss.
Yeah, but they're just going, well, we've just got to keep doing what we've doing because this is all we've known. This is all we can do, really.
This is sport. This is sportsmanship, and we have to do it. So maybe that's how it can be England.
Maybe your suggestion of just folding the FA wasn't listened to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is coming out for the before or after the England v Hungary Nations League game, but
There's a bit of history around it now, isn't there?
yeah, a bit of history around it, and let's hope that it's as entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see how we get on.
Thank you all for listening. If you would like to connect with the show further, and please do, you can email us at isthisenglandpod@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at @isvis_England. Thank you very much, Nick, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much, mate. See you, everyone.